Hey guys, Malachite here. I am using the front-facing camera so I can see what I'm doing. So I apologize if the quality is a little sketchy because the front-facing camera is not that great. But what I was trying to do, you couldn't see anything, so I'm going to do this. I had an idea that I thought might be kind of cool, or it could end up being a train wreck. I don't know. Of maybe doing tarot card reviews for beginners like me, on how well a deck might work to learn on, or what I think of a deck as a beginner, you know, the imagery in it. Is it something that's easy to read? Is it something that maybe you should go ahead and buy and just keep for a later date? Something like that. So, oh, here comes the destroyer of decks, my roommate's cat. Don't even. It doesn't matter where I put the deck. It doesn't matter what I do with it. He will find it and he will step on it. He has bent so many cards. Just stay where you are, destroyer of decks. Anyway, this is a deck that I am learning on, and I know right away that a lot of people do not like theme decks, but this is the Complete Arthurian Tarot. This box is one you'll want to keep if you store in boxes because this is sturdy. It is by Caitlin and John Matthews with cards illustrated by Miranda Gray. It comes with a book that is 240 pages and illustrated, and it's of course 78 cards. This is the guidebook. Huge. It's got your major arcana, which of course have a little more page space than your minor arcana do. But the descriptions are still really, really good. It has spreads in it, like the Arthurian Tarot spread. And there's a few more creative type things in here that I saw. So there's lots of really cool spreads. The other cool thing about this deck is it has something called the HalloQuest course, which I haven't done yet, but I plan to. Basically, the HalloQuest course explores the realms within that are depicted on the Arthurian tarot cards. It's a template of your own quest and of the soul's journey. As you meditate your way through the successive sessions of study, the path of the land's adventurous, as the trail of the quest was known in Arthurian legends, subtly becomes your own landscape. As you continue, you will find divining with the cards much easier because you have personally discovered information from each card. May your steps on this quest be guided by companions that will attend you. And you go through, and there's like practice things and work, like little workbook things that you do and meditations. So it's pretty cool. And I fully intend to do it. But for now, I'm learning, so I am not doing anything but trying to learn to read it as a basic tarot deck. The current book I'm using to read is this one. This book is amazing. I love it. It's really great for anyone, I think, trying to learn to read tarot. I love how it's teaching me to read. Ruby, why are you digging at my notebook? Anyway, and then I bought this book recently, which I know is fantastic and everyone recommends it, and I was leafing through it to see how it jived up with this deck. So we'll talk about that. So this is a theme deck, so the names of some cards are changed, as well as the name of the suits in the minor arcana, things like that. So, for example, the Fool is the Seeker, and imagery is going to be changed as well. Now, imagery on this card, I mean, you can tell it's the Fool, and there's a lot going on in the card, and I like that. There's, of course, some stuff in the book that you can read, and I'll do that with a couple of the minor or the major arcana cards. I just don't want to make this too long. and I just really like this card. This is one of my very favorite Fool cards I've ever seen, actually, because you see all the different places he can go, and kind of how innocent he is. And I like the 3 crows over his head as well. So anyway, the Seeker is the Fool, and then Merlin is the Magician. And this is almost exactly like the Rider-Waite deck, except he doesn't have a wooden table and he has a map instead of, what does the Magician have? I've got my tablet here and I have Rider-Waite cards pulled up on it. The Magician has, he's holding up, oh, I can't tell what it is. What does the Magician hold up? Oh, it's a wand. That doesn't look like a wand. Anyway, Merlin does not have a wand. He has more of a come hither hand. And a very friendly look. He's got the Oberus over his head. And the landscape is more conducive to the Arthurian legend. He's got the cup. Now the pentacle is going to be incredibly hard to see, but in this deck, pentacles are represented by stones, and that little checkerboard there has to do with the pentacles in this deck. So that's there, and then you've got your swords, and there's a spear, and that is wands in this deck. And you've got your Grail, which is the cups in this deck. So everything's represented, and you just have a stone table. So it's very, very similar to the Magician in Rider-Waite. So that one's pretty good to go. Gawain is Strength. This card is very different. I still think that's a tornado back there. In the description, it doesn't explain that that's a tornado, but that looks like a tornado. Anyway, he's got his shield and sword at the ready, and there's a hawk flying behind him. And it explains in the book what he's doing, but just to look at it, he's strong, he's a knight, he's ready to go, he's ready to throw down. He's strong. Is he ready to throw down? I don't really think that's what the Strength card means, Bren. But in the book, you read it. I told you this could be a total train wreck. Let me see. Ready to throw down. Good grief. Self-discipline, enduring strength, abilities exercise, vitality, moral certitude, courage to accept challenges, fortitude, passion, and that's the Hawk of May behind him. That has to do with its ancient Celtic name, which I cannot say. Celtic is so difficult, and I think they may be confusing Welsh with Gaelic and just calling. I'm gonna leave that alone. Anyway, it explains why he's brave, and basically he pretty much tells the Green Knight he can cut his head off, and is pretty much ready to let him do it, and then the Green Knight doesn't do it. So anyway, I love Gawain. He's one of my favorite characters, and that is the Strength card. So Taliesin is the Hierophant. Again, looks pretty similar. The Cauldron is Temperance. The Lady of the Lake is the High Priestess. I love this card. Love this card. It's one of my very favorites. The Washer at the Ford is Death. Also one of my very, very favorites. I almost always like the Death card. The spiral tower is the tower. And sovereignty is justice, just to give you a few differences. And in the book, it tells you what's going on story-wise with each one of those, as well as the meanings and things like that. So instead of the page, you have the maiden. So you have the maiden, the knight, the queen, and the king. And again, you have your grail is your cups, your spears are your wands, your swords are your swords, and your pentacles are your stones. Now, some of the cards are pretty much basic to the Rider-Waite. Turn around for me here. My iPad's being a pain. For example, this is Sword 9. Let me pull this up for you. We're all familiar with the Nine of Swords, that's why I picked it. Because unless you have a sword collection, you don't really want to wake up to that. So, here is the Nine of Swords. And here is Sword 9. Now, at first, it doesn't look like they have anything to do with each other until you really start looking at it. And then they have everything to do with each other. As you can see, they're both despair-ridden. This one happens to have heads on pikes. No, there's only... Oh, our neighbors. Just ignore that. There's only one head. There's 3 heads, but there's only 1 sword. That's very common. You do not, in this deck, you won't see 9 swords or 3 swords or anything like that. So don't count on that. But the sword is headed downstream. There are heads on pikes. This is not a happy card. And it goes right along with Rider-Waite, in my opinion. But then you've got Sword 10. And if you pull up the Ten of Swords, we all know that this guy had a terrible day. Not trying to be sarcastic, but this looks a lot better than this. And this is where you have to use the book, because this is part of the story. Because actually what's going on here is this is a single person bridge, and I believe trapped inside is Guinevere. I'll have to pull the book out. Hold on, I'll do it really quick. How much time have I got? I'm doing way better than I did last time. I recorded this earlier and it was so long that I'm redoing it. I'm very wordy. Yeah. A lake dwelling reached only by a narrow bridge. Guinevere's abduction and capture by Melwas requires a risky rescue. So Lancelot basically has to crawl over that perilous narrow bridge. It's super skinny to rescue her. So you're looking at life and death decisions, extreme daring and resolution, affliction, oppression, and then when you go look at the description of the Ten of Swords on Rider-Waite, or the divinatory meanings, pain, affliction, tears, sadness, desolation. So, again, pretty much the same, but you just kind of have to know the story as to what's going on. So you'll need the book for that. If you really look at it though, you can kind of see what's going on, but it's difficult. And again, there's only one sword. You won't see 10. If that gives you a little idea. Oh, and also you don't have, is it aces? Hold on. Yeah, you don't have aces, you have hallows. I really like this card for some reason. The Sword Hallow. I just think it's really, really pretty. It's so simple. But yes, you have hallows instead of aces. And then Stone 9 is almost... Where are you? Oh, I'm in swords. Hold on. There we go. Is almost exactly like the Nine of Pentacles when you really look at it. She's surrounded by pentacles with a bird on her, and here you have the stone surrounded by animals and nature. It's extremely similar, just drawn differently. So it's really not super different in most ways, but in some ways it can be very, very different. So, but like I said, I am learning with it. If you're gonna try to learn with a book that strictly teaches you Rider-Waite, only Rider-Waite, then cards like that Sword 10 that I showed you are going to give you all kinds of massive problems. So I would suggest that you just have this book handy next to you, and you should be fine. And also just do a lot of readings with this deck for yourself. And what I do is I just have, this is a web page, let me see, tarotlore.com, and it just has all the Rider-Waite cards on it. You just click on them and you can see what they mean, what they look like, blow them up bigger, see what they look like. It's real nice on a tablet because you can get them bigger so you can see all the details. And then you're able to compare this card to the Rider-Waite if you are trying to learn on a Rider-Waite system. So if you can do that, it really should not cause you any problems as far as this deck goes. I'm not having too many problems, but this is the only tarot deck that I'm using to learn with. I have a Hobbit tarot deck that I tried to learn on, and that deck is really, really hard to learn on. I don't recommend trying to learn on that deck. It's I think it's more of just a novelty deck. It's really hard to read. But I love these cards. I think they're great. Here's the backing of them. I forgot to show you that. I think it's really pretty. Now, some people are going to hate the cardstock because it's not great. It's flimsy. I don't mind it. I mean, I've been using these. Look, they're fine. I've been using them for, gosh, I want to say I got them at the beginning of this year or towards the end of last year. Somewhere in there. I'm a slow learner. Yeah, and I'm doing, like I said, the 21 Ways to Read a Tarot Card. I did the Four Queens course with the Hobbit deck, and I'm redoing it with this deck. There's lots of free courses on YouTube, and there's books that you can do as well. But if you know, this is just to give you an idea of what some theme decks look like. Also, if you hate borders, there's a lot of border here. I think it's cool. I think it's like looking through a window into another world on this deck. I don't mind borders. I seriously don't. I'm one of those people that I don't mind them at all because it feels like I'm looking through a looking glass. and if I want to, I can step right through it anytime and go right into that world, and I find that extremely cool. So for me, I don't mind borders at all. So anyway, I hope this was helpful for anyone that might be thinking about purchasing this deck, who is a super novice like me. The only people I have given readings for with this deck is me, myself and I, and my best friend slash roommate. So the readings go slowly because I'm learning tarot, and that means the readings go slowly. So, but they've always been pretty much right if I can take my time and work my way through them. The cards are very accurate. So anyway, I hope this helped. We're running on 20 minutes and that's long enough. So I hope this was helpful. I'd like to make this a series as I buy cards, as I'm learning, and as I go. And oracle cards, I can use those on the side, and it doesn't seem to affect my learning tarot at all because I am able to separate them out as two different things. So I can probably do oracle deck reviews more often. The tarot deck reviews are going to be very slow because as I learn, I don't want to keep mixing decks together. I think that will confuse me, so I'm going to be working on this deck for a long time. So, and there goes my voice for no reason. So anyway, if you watched the whole thing and if it was helpful, awesome. Thank you for watching, and have a great day, and many blessings. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.